Hello, world. How are you? Dr. Carolyn G. Anderson coming closer here so my lighting can pick me up. How are you doing? Good evening and welcome to Understanding Times and Seasons, especially for the month of June. And so I'll be sharing, as I often do, every first Wednesday, which is the fourth day. So Wednesday is the fourth day, or the fourth day in the creation scheme. There were 7 days that are in creation. Six of those were God doing his work and his fabulous art. And on the seventh day, he rested. And so today is the fourth day. And if my Kyle students who will be joining me here momentarily, they know all the things that were made on the fourth day. So excuse me if you hear background noises. Those are my children in our pool. We are coming to you live tonight from the Sunshine State of Florida. So good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I am using a new platform, and so let me let people know that I am live because I've never really used this one before. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so let me share this. All right, so I'm going to be doing some watch parties, and so excuse me if you hear my sound come on, but tonight is a very profound night considering all the things that we have been going through. Why do I seem so far away from you guys? And now I seem too close. Oh, considering all the things that we've been going through and what the world has been facing, and especially the United States of America in these last few days. And so let me just let people know that I am live. And if I can find, okay, I created this new page and now I can't find it. Oh boy. Oh, here we go. Um, okay, so I am live. Let me share out. How do I do this? How do I see myself? Okay, here we go. This is funny. So start watch party, turn the volume down, all the way down. Start watch party. All right. So good evening, everyone. Again, welcome. Dr. Carolyn Anderson here. I am live both on the Facebook space as well as YouTube. So good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm just waiting for the message to go forth that I am live so that you guys can join me. This is a new space that I am going live in. Typically, I am live through my profile, but I am not tonight. I am just going straight up through this method. And so I hope it works. If it doesn't, I'll just shut it down and go through my regular profile. So I want to share with you this evening about understanding times and seasons. I do this the first Wednesday of every month, and I always talk about the significance of the month. And so I'll be talking today about what June means, what it represents, what's happening in our world in timing and seasons right now, what you can look forward to, what's shifting, what's happening, and all those many cool things that the world is facing right now. We're also living in a very treacherous time. There is just a lot of protesting and rioting, murdering, and everything that you can think of that's wrong right now seems to be going wrong. Yet, in all those, God is still in control. And so we celebrate and acknowledge Him tonight as God, and He can do all things and He can shift all things. And we too have the power in our mouths so we can speak, decree, declare, and things can be established that we want to see in our lives, in our communities, in our nation, in our country. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome again. If there is ever a time and seasons that this should be watched, it is this one. So, I've been doing this for quite some time, but this one is quite significant and different because I'm going to address and touch just on some of the things that's happening now, why I'm not surprised about some of the things, and what we can look forward to for the month of June. All right, so let me make sure I got all my little peeps with me. Good evening again. Welcome, everyone. So just want to make sure my computer, my thing was shutting down. Okay, it's not. I just finished writing the book, Understanding Timing and Seasons. And okay, I can't get this plug out. Understanding Times and Seasons. And it's being pressed at Riley Press, our publisher. and it's completed. It's over 200 pages talking about the year 2015 up until now, what had shaken Earth, what's happening about the new decade, about this year, the Hebrew calendar year 5780, as well as the Gregorian calendar 2020, why there's so much shaking and so much chaos that is happening and then around the world. And I go forth and I also talk in the book about things that you can do to position yourself for prosperity, how you can be in preparation for the transfer of wealth, because wealth is being transferred into the hands of those whom are qualified for it. What are the qualifications for it? How do you know when it will come and to whom? And are you in position for that? In the book, I also share and talk about the strategies to bring our communities together, the strategies to walk in purpose, the strategy to walk in wealth. I also share 80 things that you can speak out of your mouths, that you can decree and declare and have it be established in your lives. So, good evening again. If you can just quickly do me a favor, let me know what city, what state, what country you are watching me from. That would be so awesome. If you can also let me know, if you can also share this video out, that would help me also quite a bit. And so I'm using a new page that I have not been on before. And so I don't even, it's brand new. I just created the page like 3 minutes ago because we have another page that we use, and we do have a church um, page that we use, but it was not working out for me because there's so much things going on in the social space. So I just created this one. So hopefully there's a few people here that's joining me or will be watching me from the rewatch. So welcome, Lady Kimberly Rome, Nicole, and Marion. Good evening. You guys are awesome. You're wonderful. Thanks for those of you who are joining me live, up close, and in person. Let me make sure Tracy know that I am here, because she always likes me to let her know that. All right, Tracy, there you go. I just sent it to you. And so good evening again. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. My husband will be joining me here also momentarily. Good evening. Welcome, 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 welcome. And thank you so much. You are totally awesome. I'm excited about tonight and what's about to happen. So good evening again, and thanks for joining me. Mr. Roosevelt, how you doing? Kimberly, I see you here. Awesome, amazing, 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 wonderful. All right, so I got my watch party started. I got everything going. I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, good evening again, everyone. Welcome. All right, Mississippi's in the house. Mississippi's always in the house. Mississippi is one of those leading leadership states, and royalty is just pouring out of Mississippi. Mississippi is on a mission, and they're on a really amazing mission to fulfill the mantle that has been placed on the hands of those who are in Kyle International University and the MMBA pageant. And so Mississippi is just like on force. They're just taking over. They have the awards coming up that I believe is hosted by the amazing Kathy Amos. She is in the pageant. Good evening, Monica. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to Doing Life with Dr. Carolyn. I'm going to talk this evening about understanding times and seasons. So for the last 5+ years, because some of you are new to Doing Life with Dr. C. So for the last 5 years, I have been sharing and talking about and I go live the first Wednesday of every month. It's just because it's the first Wednesday, and I want to talk about timing and seasons, because timing and seasons was made on the 4th day, and today's the 4th day. So that's why I created and chose to do this on Wednesday. Not created. This is why I chose to do it on the 4th day. So there's 30 things that God made in Genesis 1. And 30 things that he made, he did so by speaking. He uses voice. He spoke. He just said, let there be, and there was. Therefore, we have that same power to speak. Let there be, and there will be. And so one of the things why I am so keen on understanding timing and seasons is because when you understand time and seasons, you know when to make a move, when not to make a move, when to do something, when to speak, when to be silent, when to shout, when to not shout. You understand sequence and you understand timing. Something's bothering me. So I'm in Florida, y'all. I'm in my sunshine state. I'm in my second home and I'm just loving it. But it has changed the texture of my skin. I'm probably for the good, but I be itching and stuff. And I'm just like, what are these little things that's itching me down here in Florida? It must be these little knot things like, I don't know, heat flies or something. But anyway, so I know when to move. When do I start a new business? When do I shift? When is it time to go? When is it time for new staff? When is it time to retain? When is it time to shift? When is it time to do this? When do I know the season of someone in my life has ended? Not okay. That must be my hair. Okay, let me just drink some water. Okay, now all things. See, I was fine all day until I'm going to talk about something that's going to shift you into another dimension. And then all of a sudden it's acting up, right? So now all things happen at the same time for the same reason. It happens for different things. So June, I'll write this down. June is the month of justice. And so that's the first thing I'll start out with. So June, and I'll type it in for those who are watching me live. If you can just put this in for me. June is the month of justice and just do it now. And so that is what June is for. Just do it now. I'm going to tell you why June is a month of justice and just do it now. I'm also going to talk about some current events. I'm going to take you into the book of Esther. I'm going to show you correlations between what was happening then, what's happening now, and how you can position yourself for the palace. You can move from pain to purpose to palace, and you can also move from just being at the bottom to the top. It's possible. And this is that month to just do that, right? And so June is a month of to just do it. It's the month of justice. It's the month where you can put things into position, and justice will be served on your behalf, and you can get things that has been working against you to be justified as well. And so this is the month of justice. It's the month to walk in that authority. It's the month also to just do it. This is not the month to procrastinate. As a matter of fact, there is no such month. But if there's anything that you need to get done, this is the month to just do it. You don't have to think about it, think through it, because as a matter of fact, right now, the way the world is running, the way how things are moving fast, the way how things are changing by the second, the amount of things that are happening that are causing so much anxiety and fear and division and divide, the amount of principalities that are ruling in atmospheric places that are taking place right now, the amount of evil that is rising. Some of those things you just don't want to think about, especially if it's going to position you for prosperity. So, a position and a huge shifting is literally right now taking place. If you are looking at things through your natural eyes, that which you will be seeing is not good. You see people in masks. It's a constant reminder that we are living in a state of pandemic, right? You see the gloves, you are standing in the line. I went to Walgreens a couple of days ago and I didn't even realize I was too close to dude that was at the cash register. So I had to like back up, because there were these signs on the ground because I haven't been going out. I've been following the stay at home order. But down here in Florida, the state is like 75% open. Resorts are back open effective June 1st. And so we're here, we're in one of our homes and chillaxing and, just having an amazing time. And we'll be transitioning pretty soon to a state of rest. So there's so much reminders that's reminding you, if you turn on that television, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's Chicago PD, which I like to watch the commercials or the breaking news or what's coming on tonight or what, someone has said on Twitter or someone has said on Facebook and the back and forth. I mean, life right now is a simple reminder of the pain and the wounds and the scars that has left an imprint in this generation. And when I say this generation, I mean whomever is alive today, whether you are 60 in your 40s, the 50s, the 30s. Oh, I feel sorry for even our children that as far as their generation, they're getting to face so many tragedies and an exposure to so much that their brain is not prepared for. And so the part of the brain that makes decision, it's the a part of the brain that's responsible for forward thinking. This is where you dissect information. This is where you process information. This is that filtering system. For most individuals, which is the frontal lobe, that does not fully mature until between ages 25 and 30. So for those who are younger now, trying to decipher and to decide what is going on, how do I get out of this, how I stay virtual in school and still subject myself to making sure I get my homework done. This is all weird. I can't socially be with my friends. We are designed as a people to connect. And so the disconnection and the quarantine, while it for a season was really good to keep us safe. And those whom still have a compromised immune system need to still remain like 100% quarantined. Our bodies and our brains and God's creation and how He made us was not designed for longevity, for a long period of time, to be in such a state of disconnect or not any connection with those outside of your immediate circle. So, for even those who are single that live alone and are home by themselves, I mean, this has to be, I mean, completely a difficult thing, especially if you were one that loves to connect, one that was socially involved, one that loves people and loved to be around people, that you either give energy or you were one that came alive when you were around other people. All those elements and things that are happening, that disconnect is causing anxiety. People are afraid. They are not sure what's going to happen. What's this new thing that's going to happen now? I mean, our brain, a lot of people had not yet healed from the tragedy of Kobe Bryant and losing such one of our greatest legend, or someone that our children knew or knew of. And so as a nation, and even as a world, we were still grieving that tragic death of a young daughter, of all those who were on the aircraft. There was a wife, there was other children, a coach, the pilot, Kobe, like I said, because I made a reference to him because he's, to me, the most known that was there. And, they call it Kobe's helicopter. So we're still mourning. We're feeling sadness for Vanessa and grieving with her and the children that are left behind, his parents, his family, those who love him, all the families and parents of those and connections of those who are on the helicopter. And then all of a sudden it's a freeze, it's a pandemic, it is coronavirus, it's COVID-19, and the world is in a frenzy, and we're trying to understand this. All of my three kids on March 13th, Friday the 13th, the three of them came home with three different attitudes as to what they learned in school, that you won't come to school next week, which was just 1 week. And so my social butterfly, my 16-year-old daughter from high school, she came home extremely sad. Like, I can't do this. What's going to happen? And then our middle child, that is Chaz, she's in middle school. Our middle child's in middle school. She came home and she was like, neither here nor there, right? And just kind of like, okay, it's just 1 week. It was the day after her volleyball season ended. So at least that was really good. Then my son, the one in elementary school, our 10-year-old son, AJ, he came home on fire. No school, no school. And so I had to deal with three different personas simultaneously, one that's one extreme and the other that's another extreme, and one that's just kind of in the middle. Because I was laughing. I was like, this is funny. Okay, no big deal. I can hang out with you guys for 1 week. Well, this Friday is the last day of school. So they have been home since March 13th. So let's just push it to June 13th, because the last day of school is going to be next week, the 12th, I think. But they just shortened it and say, hey, well, you're just going to get out this Friday. This is it. We've had enough. So March, April, May, June, 3 months of no touching, no leaving the house. Our kids had not left the house at all. They just I was around our home, like right there in our subdivision. And that was just very recent. Like, I wouldn't let them go outside because I'm just like, I don't know, COVID might be blowing around. So I'm sharing all this to say, because I'm coming to sharing psychologically, mentally, where we are as a people, for those who are watching me and will be watching me live, and what's happening. What does time and seasons have to do with now because it's everything. And so the timing and the season, it has completely shifted. Earth, as we know it, is a completely different planet. From our infrastructure to the ozone to the breathing to our water to our consumption, our food, every single element of life, I think I'm frozen. Every single element of life has been shifted and changed. And guess what? The world will never, ever, 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 ever be the same ever again. It cannot. It has systematically changed. Judicially, it has changed. Everything about it has simply changed. So, all right, one moment here. All right. Okay, so I'm back with you guys. All right. So let me just welcome some people who have joined me. I have Joshua that has joined me. Natasha has joined me as well. King, Tracy Ann Steer. Thank you so much for joining me. Tracy, if you can let the other students know that I am live. If that you're so good at doing that. Melverta, thank you so much for joining me. If you can just share out this video for me, please. I'm using a new system so that others can know that I am live, because if there is ever a time that one needs to understand timing and seasons, that time is now. If you guys can just give me some hearts, some love, let me know you're out there, because I can't really see anyone that is out there, just again based on this new page that I've used. So just give me some comments, some feedback, so I can know that you're there, so I can know I'm talking to somebody, right? And so we're living in a very treacherous time. It's timing and seasons have become it's such a profound thing. Even before now, I've always valued times and seasons, and now I have finally finished the book for this year, 2020. Believe it or not, because so much has happened in 2020 that has caused such a delay. For one, the publishing company was not in full motion. Amazon was not doing any printing and sending any books. There was so much shifting and changing, and I had to change my brain to now homeschool. I had to change my brain to work full time from home. I had to figure out, the anxiety level, working with patients, working with clients, working with coachees, our students. It was so many things happening. So now I'm actually going to be taking, excuse me, a brain break. I will be taking a brain break, and I'm almost done. I'm not too far away. So this month, June, is a month of justice. It is a month to just to do it. So let me go here to the book of Esther. And so I'm going to share with you a little story from the book of Esther. It's really a really awesome book. And for those of you who are doing book study with me, you know where we are and what we're studying right now. And so let me see if I have it up here. Let me find my thing. So the book of Esther. Um, Let me see, what's the name of my? Okay, here we go. All right. So are you guys still seeing me? Just want to make sure you're still seeing me, because, like I said, I am using a different system. So please let me know that you are seeing me, and so that we can go from there. So if you can just give me a shout out, give me a that thing. Doesn't look like my husband. Oh, he is. Okay, he gave me a wave that he's still seeing me, because normally he's commenting and doing a lot of stuff. And so, all right, the book of Esther. So yes, you guys are seeing me. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for those to let me know that you're still listening to me and I am not talking in vain. Tonight is going to be really good. It's already really good, but it's going to get better. This is one you want to stay and listen to, even though I know you've been hanging out with me for a while. I haven't been live actually since last week, Wednesday. I actually have not posted since last week, Wednesday, at all on Facebook. So we started our journey 1 week ago today. We decided to actually take a road trip from Wisconsin all the way down to Florida. So it took us a couple days, and we stopped overnight, and just kind of shifting and transitioning. This is our second home, and Orlando is my spot, my favorite spot besides Jamaica. So I love the Bahamas, but nothing beats Jamaica. That's number one. And of course, Orlando. So again, June is a month of justice and the month to just do it now. No procrastination, no, um, you know, any kind of stuff. So I have not been on since last week, Wednesday. And it was for both traveling purposes and when I'm kind of disconnecting and having to shift gears and do some different things. I just really don't step out into that social media space because some of it can be very negative. Simultaneously, I started to hear stories of Mr. Floyd, who was tragically murdered. And we were just coming out of the soiree. We had a Living Life on Purpose ladies soiree, which was just so profound last week, where I shared and opened up my journal for the first time after 17 and a half years from when we lost our twin boys. I shared about multiculturalism, and we had a healthy discussion on the different cultures, how we see things differently. And this was again before the tragic death, or before it became such a public thing and a world thing, as a matter of fact. And so I talked and discussed about how different color, and even within certain colors, we learn that even within the Black race, there is still also division and classism, and based on your shade that you are, whether you're really dark or light, and for those who are mixed that don't belong to one race or another and feel rejected. So we had those healthy conversations. And I will be hosting some Dr. Carolyn shows that will be having some real healthy conversations around what's happening right now. See, when you have a conversation, when you are able to talk things through, you may not always agree or even get the full understanding, but just being able to hear the other person's side and being able to speak your side, because we're all different. Every single person, no DNA is matched identically, not even identical twins. And so everyone is entitled to their opinion. And people, opinions, and this is why it's stupid, it's just dumb to argue, especially politics. There's no winning when it comes to that. And it's really dumb to argue and to go back and forth in regards to certain topics and things, and even just any regular argument, because for example, my position that I'm taking is based on my values, my beliefs, and the filtering system that I have built in me that filters things out and process things. We all have this processor, whether you know it or not, unbeknownst to you, within you, that what's the word I'm looking for? That disseminate. That's the word. Things that are coming in. So it comes in, and based on the state of mind that you are in, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you just don't care, whatever mood you're in, based on the information that's coming in, it has to be able to decipher and to go through it and disseminate it into the right place. And the world is having a very, very difficult time um being able to figure out all this. And there is a very, very good reason for that. You see, our brain was not designed to have so much information coming at it. Every second we are faced with sometimes over 2 million bits of information, and the brain is oftentimes running on this overload, right? So you think about COVID, you think about those who are grieving again, like I said, from Kobe, those who are still having issues from last year that's coming over. Then you have the pandemic, you have the murder of Mr. George, what's his George Floyd, or whichever way backwards, or Floyd George, excuse me. Would you know? So George is his first name and Floyd is his last name, I believe, right? So you have that. Then you have now the protests, and then you also have some riots and looting at the same time, because of course evil is always going to show its ugly face. And so we can only consciously absorb about 134 bits of information at any given time, very little small, because it has to filter through and the brain sends signal. And so what happens to the other 1,999,999 bits of information, because we're taking in about 2 million at a given time? The brain was never designed to run like that. So it becomes disturbing. It begins to delete things and generalize things and throw things out and toss things that it believes it's not good. And before you know it, you are living in a state of chaos without even being aware, because this has taken over. And so a remapping and a rewiring, and when you understand time and seasons, when to move, when not to move, when to do something, when not to say something. And the time that we are living in right now, it's a very unique time, and everything around us has shifted. There are also opportunities that has presented itself for certain people. And I know our university, Kyle International University, has been positioned in a place of leadership in order to lead and establish those who are looking to build God's true righteousness. And so we are walking in the space. You don't know if your neighbor is for you or against you. You don't know if you know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're living in a state and a time of certain uncertainty. But when you understand timing and seasons, and this is what I really want to drive home today, when you understand that, then you don't have to be afraid and you don't have to live in a state of anxiety. You can live in a much more pleasant state, and you don't have to worry about the anxiety and the things that will come your way. And so we have during a certain time in a certain era, during when King Xerxes or Ahasuerus ruled. So it was a time frame in life when he was the one in power and the one that's leading. So kind of like a president, but back then they were kings and queens that ruled, and so it is going to be today. And so when we had there was a young girl, or I should say a wife, by the name of Vashti, who was upset. So apparently, she had her own quarters, her own palace, she had her own people, her own maids and maidens that took care of her. And so, her and her husband, he had his own palace. She had her palace and her peeps. And so, apparently, during this time frame, because everything is about an era, she in order to come into his palace, she had to be summoned or she had to be called. He requested her majestic presence. So he was throwing this royal banquet, and he sent word to her that she should come on over and celebrate, to wear her finest garment, probably put on her crown, and come on over and enjoy the party because he wants her to be a part of it. She sent back word and said, I'm not coming. And that was very unusual back then for the woman, for a wife, for a queen to send word to her king that she is not coming. And so he sent again a second time, and the response was the same. She's not coming. She was upset, maybe mad. I don't know what was happening with her, but Vashti says she's not coming. So finally, the king consulted with his men, and they proposed to her that she be sent out of the royal palace, and a new queen who will listen would come in and take her place instead. And so that's exactly what happened. She was banished from her royal position, kicked out of the palace, and now they were in search for a new wife, a new one that would represent that palace, to represent be the wife of this amazing king. And so that's what was happening then. So they sent word out into the city that they're looking for all the young ladies who are virgins to come and present themselves and to see if they will be the one chosen to be this queen. And so if you just think about it, like today, if there was a single king and he said, hey, I need all these young women who out here who have never been married and they're virgins to gather into this place where we'll take care of you, we'll beautify you, and you'll go through a process. And at the end of the process, the king will get to choose whom he wants. I guess it's kind of like, quote unquote, current day bachelor, but except that he's not like messing with every person every night, and he's not handing out any rose. He don't get to pick between two. He's just picking one. So for those of you who've watched The Bachelor, Bachelorette, if you just picture that for a moment, but just on a bigger, much more royal scale where the king is already established. He's not looking to propose. He's just one of them is just gonna become his wife based on his choice. So there was this beautiful young lady who, her name was Esther. She was in this foreign land because prior to that, the children of the Lord had it was in kind of slavery, was in a land where that was not necessarily for them or their own land, and so just kind of hanging out in somebody else's land. And so they gathered they gathered all the ladies together. I don't know how many. Let's just say it was 100 women in this palace, and they were to be pampered, if that's a word, for 1 whole year. So they were to be beautified. They had massages. They had oil. They were taken care of. They had a eunuch, which a eunuch is a male that, I don't know if he actually have the male part, but he doesn't have a desire for sexual desire to be with any woman. So that's a particular gift from the Lord. This is not for every man, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have reproduction, right? So they were to care for them. And so this beautiful woman, young lady, her name is Hadassah, but known to us as Esther. She was found favor with one of the highest eunuchs in the kingdom. And so she was pampered, she was taken care of. And so one day, she was actually fatherless, and that's a whole nother story. But she was raised by her uncle Mordecai, who took her in and became like her father. So he would give her instructions, he would tell her what to do, he would send information for them, and blah blah blah. So one day, the king had a banquet, and it was time now for him to choose his person that was going to be his wife. And lo and behold, all the ladies came. They had on their fine garment. They were pampered. They smelled good. They looked good. Hair was all in the right position. Everything was going good. Things were great. But Esther was the one that was chosen. And so she became the new queen, and she was chosen for a particular purpose. You are listening to me because you are chosen for a particular purpose. The past year that you have gone through was for a particular purpose. This year that you are going through, the season that you are going through now, is for a particular purpose. And so do not think it's strange for where you are right now, wherever you are positioned, whatever realm, whatever entity and organizations that you are ruling and reigning in. Do not think it's strange. This could be that year that you are in, the year of preparation, the year to be established, the year of refinement. Because when you understand timing and seasons, you know your position you're in. You don't have to rush to get to something, you don't have to draw something up, because the worst thing, the worst thing that you can do is go before the Lord. I can tell you from experience. See, I'm a doer, a mover, and a shaker. And one of the problems that I had encountered in my life was that when God would give me so much, and He still does, but now I know when to put that one there, put this one there, put this one there. God has given me so much, and many people have spoken in my life and shared so many things and have talking so many stuff and prophesied over my life. And what the mistake I made was I thought it was for then, when if I would have understood, if someone like me would have taught me, because there wasn't really anyone teaching about timing and seasons, or with such accuracy. That's one of the things that I carry. I can say that because it has been proven that what I speak and what I share and what God has given to me and the downloads I receive from heaven, I'm doing it with accuracy. And so, because that was a covenant, that's a deal that the Lord and I had, that I would speak with accuracy, because I don't want to steer anybody in the wrong way. So when you are connected to something that I'm doing, especially for those who are a part of CIU, and CIU stands for both Church in You as well as Kyle International University. So CIU University, if any of our students are in, just are on here, give me a shout out, put the website in here. Let me know that you're watching me, holla at me, girl, holla at me, or guy, because we have males in our school as well. And so we were just so excited and so happy. Thank you for those who are sharing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so you want to not be behind. You don't want to be too far behind the Lord, because that irritates him. That, when you are out in front, he's like, okay, go on out there, Lone Ranger. But then when you're in the way back, and he's like, one of the things that irritate me the most, why my camera gets so dark? Pick me up. One of the things that irritate me the most is when people tell me that they're waiting on God. I'm like, wait a minute, but He took 6 days to create everything for you. What are you waiting for? And this is something that people resort to when they just don't know what to do or they don't understand timing and seasons. There is a difference between when you are true, when God has given you something to do, when you know what time and what season of life you're in, and you are just simply waiting for that time to come versus sitting there waiting on God to do something for you. No, 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 no. He's waiting on you. Trust me. He's waiting on you. Heaven is on an overload. There are so many things on heaven that needs to actually be on earth that should have already, oh, nice light, been on earth, but it's not because the people have not been in position to receive it. God only does things by establishing His will on earth as it is in heaven through people. And so, if you are not in position, if you have a purpose in life and you are called to be one of those positioners or an establisher or a wealth builder or a purpose pusher, if you are in that realm and you know that there's greater for you in your life, and you are not walking alongside, you need to walk hand in hand right there. He's holding your hand, you are holding his hand, and that is where you are working from, and that's the position you are. You want to always be in the position of God's side. You don't want to be in front of him. You want to be behind him. You want to be beside, not in front, not behind, but beside, beside, beside. I'm repeating that because it's beside him that you want to be his sidekick. You get what I'm saying? You don't want to be the side chick, but his sidekick. So you want to be right here in position by his side, walking with him so he can look over and talk with you, because the son is at the right hand of the right side of the father. He ain't behind God, and he's not in front of him. He's right beside him. And the word of God says we are seated in heavenly places with Christ Jesus. Therefore we are seated right next to God. And so when your ears are fine tuned and wired, and your eyes are clear, and you have that 2010 vision, and when your mind is propelling and being transformed, you are walking right there like an airplane. You see my muscles? You are walking right there like an airplane taking off. So if you always think about your position that needs to be with God is like wings. So he gives you those wings, right? So you can soar and you can fly. You can be that eagle. So you have those wings. So always think about it. Am I in this position with the Lord? Am I in this position with God? Or am I here in front or way behind? That is a determination. So June is that month of justice. Justice shall prevail. So anything that you have going on in your life that you don't feel is walking in a position of justice, then take that to the courts of heaven. You bring the case to the courts of heaven, because this is the month when you will hear, this is the month when you win. This is the month when everything that is the beginning of you ministering and prophesying, that everything that has gone wrong in your life, everything that you have lost, everything, the canker, palmer, every worm that has snatched and taken from you, this is when you begin to call in that justice, because that's what June is. It is the 6th month in the Gregorian calendar. And 6 is the number of man. It is also the 3rd month in the Hebraic calendar, and 3 is a divine month. So we have God's divine anointing that is looking upon man. And so this is why simultaneously the enemy also, who works through people, because he's always attempting to be that counterfeit, or what he thinks to be an equal of God, but he can never be equal because he's evil. And there's only one head. There's only one highest being, and that is God himself. There will never be another. And so he will never win. So his role is to get into your mind. It's to get into your thoughts. It's to create this division that is happening amongst us. It's to create this divide that is happening around the world. It is to infiltrate the system. It is to come in from the back. It's to get into the minds of people. And just so you know, some of these things that people are saying, they are not even necessarily saying it of their own understanding or their own sense. It's just things have gotten into here. So again, from COVID, from being this health condition of anxiety and pressure and seclusion and quarantine and not being able to connect, having to do everything virtually, all the systematic things that are coming at us, all those things have caused the brain to go into a state of red zone. It's not, it's some of the people are in the blue zone, but it's not necessarily operating in the green and yellow zone right now. It's red, it's heightened, it's intensified. But if you just stand, if you just allow peace to be still in your life, if you would just give yourself permission to breathe, give yourself permission to speak, give yourself permission to receive. If you would just give yourself permission in this time that you know you are walking rightly and uprightly, if you just allow yourself to be able to allow God to make justice prevail for you, you come out a winner. So June is also the month to just do it. And so the timing and the seasons that we're living in, everything has shifted. If you think, I know when my computer is so dark, it's dying. So I needed to be plugged in, Mr. Anderson. And do you have anything you wanted to share and stuff? I know you got all dressed up and looking all fancy. Don't shake my table. My husband, who can't have husband a bud? So that's why it's getting dark. So you know, and it's dying. So so hey, Genesis. Hey, Alicia. I see my peoples have joined me now. Tracy, I didn't know they were on here. Husband have joined. Nancy have joined. Nancy Crutcher, I'm calling you out on Facebook and YouTube. I don't know which one you're joining me from, but I love you, Nancy, because any people of Genesis is people of mine, right? Because she only roll with professional kingdom people. And so if you, and Nancy, I'm waiting for you to hit that application button and to apply to be a part of Kyle International University so that you will take June and July and get caught up and finish all your classwork. Because Nancy, you have a purpose in Kyle International University. And Nancy, it really also have a lot to do what's happening now. You are going to be one of those first Caucasian white that God will use as that gap filler because you have a passion to see the race come together, and you have that natural joke, and that you are like this, you represent the white race really well. So hear me from a position of a spiritual space. So my people, Genesis, Rachel, all Alicia, those are that are in the CIU, know that there has to be, and they know they've heard this from me, you cannot solve a problem in the problem. And the change will start when the opposite race of anything, if it was Mexican, if it was, Indian, whatever, it takes an opposite race. This is how even Dr. Martin Luther King, it was the whites that stood with him that helped to bridge that gap. And so, Nancy, I see you as a gap filler. And so, waste no time no more. You are one that will stand because God said He's given you physical strength, even your posture, your disposition, the way you are shaped, because you are security. God says He's called you as a woman of justice. And so you stand for righteousness. Nancy, you don't play, you'll cut somebody. You may, you just one of them cut person. You just say how it is with your country self. And if you don't like it, you just move that other way because she was like, you got somewhere else to go. And so you're going to be one that says, no, I stand for my brown and black people. This wrong is wrong, right is right, and this is whom God is using you for in Kyle, in that position, because you're the security. You're like our security, literally. And I even know I know you in Genesis are really cool. And I'm saying this on public television or public space. Oh my God! So Nancy, that's who you are. You're a gap filler. And so come on, girl, hit the submit button. The price is going up tomorrow for applications. So you want to get caught in the lower price, Nancy. So go on, apply, put your, this is your time. This June and July, you're going to catch up and stuff, because I know this, all this that's happening is bothering you. I have a lot of my white peeps who are saying, this is bothering me. I stand for you guys. I've been fed up with it, but enough is enough. And we appreciate you. We thank you guys so much. We are so excited, and we are waiting for you also to become a part of our organizations. And Kyle is not a color thing. It just happens to be the majority of those who are in our university right now. But Nancy, we are establishing establishers, and that's who you are. You're firm and you're solid. And so we're welcoming you. We're telling you, welcome, Nancy. You are a Kyler. Don't play now. So in closing, the posture. And so give yourself permission. I want to validate you tonight. I want to validate you that where you are, I want to validate those who are angry in this time frame. I want to validate those who don't understand. I even want to validate those who are saying um, we don't know what tomorrow is going to be like, because you're not supposed to anyway. So I want to validate those who are frustrated. I want to validate you right now if you're not understanding what's happening. Let me just shed this light from you. The message from the Lord is, and I've shared some of this with our students, because I get different messages, because in Kayil, we are a chosen group and a chosen generation. We are remnants, and we are walking in our fivefold ministry charge. And so we understand positioning. So we have been positioned to carry on the mantle. We have been given a certain mantle in CI University. And the website, I don't know if I've put it out there yet, but it's ciuniversity.org. We have been positioned for greatness. We have been positioned to prosper, and the mantle has been passed on to us. So we've been given certain keys. But for those who are watching me, that you're not a part of Kyle International University, you're just jumped on either by someone sharing this, or you just know I do this every month and you look forward to it. And so we just want you to know that as we are going through right now in this time and in this season, one of the messages from heaven, one of the things that God it has shared with me from heaven right now. Wait, let me get back to Esther's story. And so Esther got positioned. She was positioned for such a time as this. You are positioned for such a time as this, as I wrap it up and come to a close. And so while Esther was positioned for such a time as this, guess what happened to Esther? What happened to her is that she became a snare to the person that was second in command. You might want to say the vice president or the vice king, not the vice lord. That's a gang. All right. And so she was second in position. He was second in position. And he ruled over, it was like this governor type, and he had gotten this signet ring to go and annihilate and destroy God's people. These were the Jewish people, those of Hebrew descent, the tribes. They were all in captivity. They had lived afar off, and some lived there. But Esther was an inside agent. Esther was an undercover, and so she was inside, not knowing why. And I want you guys to know, and especially CIU, I want you to know, Nancy, the reason why you guys are inside, and for those who are watching me, when you are on the inside, just know that favor falls on you. So know that favor falls on you. It just do. And little things may come up here, but they are just little ants and gnats and little irritants and little things that is coming to, create this big, huge problem that does not exist. What exists in your life right now, for those who are watching me, for those who are saying, I am ready, for those who are saying, I am frustrated, for those who are saying, I'm taking a stand, for those who are saying, right now, my peace just needs to be still, for whatever position that you find yourself in, because you are positioned based on your purpose and your disposition. So hear me again. You become positioned based on your purpose because of the disposition that you are going to be propelled from. So when the spaceship was getting ready to launch from Cape Canaveral, which is about an hour from where I am, Based on the weather conditions, they could not take off. They tried this for about what, honey? About a week to take off, and they could not. And so when the day come, when the clouds was clear, when they look around and they saw that things were good, they got into position because their purpose was to be that first set of humans that actually take off in this SpaceX. Normally they send it off, but it's a drone. And so they've been doing this testing for a long time. And so a lot of the things that's been happening in earth has been testing. There's been testing both from the Lord, and there's been temptation from the enemy. If you don't understand time and seasons, you won't know the difference, because believe me, my husband and I can tell you this, they look very similar. And you don't know, is this a test? Am I being tempted? Is this flesh? Is this spirit? Because there's this war and you're not sure which one it is. But when you understand time and seasons, when you are connected to the vein, when you are walking in royal position, when God has planted you and you are steadfast, unmovable, and solidly grounded, especially in our university, especially in our pageant, especially connected to that which we are doing, because you want to be connected to a leading voice. Esther could not listen to any other voice but Mordecai. She couldn't even listen to the eunuch because he was not positioned for her purpose. He was positioned for her journey. There is a difference. People can be positioned for the process, positioned for the journey, but not for the purpose. Purpose was what Esther was positioned for. The king, she may not have been the most beautiful looking one. She may not even be as fine as I am. I had to throw a joke in there, but it's not a joke. I'm serious. Truth. I'm serious. She may not. But when God put the veil over the eyes of those who need to pick you, it doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter what you smell like, you are positioned for purpose. That is how you are going to move, and that's what's going to happen. So there is different people that come into your life for different reasons. There are seasons, there are people that are in your life for time. When you walk in time, you never look back. I know for a fact those who are in my life right now for time, they're never going anywhere. Any conflicts that we have, we just solve them. No real relationship is ever real unless there comes a test. The relationship must be tested. You must go through a disagreement, through a conflict, and you talk it through. And you come through and you love on each other way more. There's a lot of things I like to talk it through with people. I like to say, okay, we had a conflict, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we talk it through, we reconcile. Let's move on, right? Just like that. But there are some that you don't want to move on with. You just want to say that conflict remains dead. You can stay right there in your life and move on in that position. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the now. This is the time to propel. This is the time to just do it. Stay the course. Do not look to the left and do not look to the right. We pray for those whom are right now just are I pray for those who anger has taken them over, because when anger takes over, you no longer think rationally. And I do not want to see any more lives lost. And so right now, I just pray for the simmering and for the calmness and for the peace of the living God to just touch those who are angry. Now, anger is a natural emotion, and you're supposed to get angry. I don't like people who just are, that's a flatliner. I don't like flatliners. I like anger, sad, happy, have all the emotions because God have them. However, sustained anger, that becomes, it eats you up. You can't sleep, you can't think, you can't breathe, and it's an exhaustion. It pulls you, it tires you. So I really do, from the depths of my heart, pray for the anger that's within so many people, for the hatred that's amongst us, because God has positioned you that's watching me right now, positioned you for purpose. And there are some people that are y'all emojis and comments are they're hilarious. There are some people that are in your life, that's just allow them to be your propel board, to be your jump off board. It doesn't mean that you stay in that same position, because is it a person that's been positioned for the process, positioned as for the journey, or are they positioned for purpose? Because everything in life is all about purpose. God created everything. He had a purpose for them all. He didn't just go, let there be trees, let there be some little butterflies. They don't have no purpose. Everything in the ecosystem, even Lucifer got a purpose. He comes to tempt, he comes to kill, and he comes to destroy. Now it's up to us if we allow him to do that, because we have power. We have a weapon that is called a mouth, and we have the ability to decree and to declare. And if you are walking in his will, on his way, on his time, in his season, then it shall be established in your life. Now, I know a lot of people say that or may have said that scripture, but if it has to be according to his will, because you can't pimp God. You can't just pull on him and pull on God and try to pimp him out and try to say, hey, I need this now. It's only going to come in time and seasons. In my closing, I am so excited that God did not answer all my prayers. You said, but Dr. Carolyn, don't you want God to answer all your prayers? Nope. Because some of the things I prayed for, I'm so glad he never gave it to me. Some people that I prayed to be in my life, I'm sure glad he never gave it to me. Whom I prayed for to be married to, I'm sure glad that's not who I am married to. So I'm glad he didn't answer some of my prayers. So the prayer and the position to take and the posture to be in now is, God, let your will be done in my life, your will. So as Esther was in this palace and the evil was raising up, no different than the evil is raising up today. And there will be times when it seemed like evil, the evil kingdom, has risen higher than the kingdom of God, because what you are seeing with the eyes are seeming to be much more worse than that which you are seeing with your mind. The awesome vision that you have, the wealth that is waiting to be transferred to you, the disposition that you have been placed in, all those awesome, amazing things. When you start looking down like Peter, when you start looking down at your current circumstances, when you look at the situation that is at hand, and I'm not telling you to be fake or not to be in the moment. What I am saying is you can be present but not be affected in the state where it drives you to get out of character and not to be the person that you have called and chosen to be. There is a complete difference. In the scheme of things that's happening in and around the world, you have a purpose in this. And your purpose may be different from the other person's purpose. So there is a purpose in where we are right now. Like, I can't be Nancy's purpose. Nancy can't be my purpose, but she has a purpose that is aligned and connected to us. Now, this same mouth can also cause you destruction, because there's life and there's death. And so this is when you understand timing and the time that we are in right now, because everything around us has changed. I'm talking about the physical element of earth has changed. Most of it, actually, believe it or not, for good. The earth needed a rest. It was too toxic. The ozone needed a break. It was too much stuff happening there. Breathing conditions now are lighter. Less people are actually getting sick from atmospheric things. Um, there is the space just feels lighter, it's less crowded and polluted, and so this was actually for a good reason. For certain parts of it, the earth needed a rest, and so on its axis, earth has shifted. And when it has shifted, when people do not shift with it, you are fighting against gravity, and you can't win. That's one thing you cannot win against. And so the plane wants to stay up because it is not time to land, and it's being pulled down by gravity. It wants to come down, and it's not time yet, because we're still on that journey. There will come the time when we land. Right now, the spaceship that just took off, it is in space. It's not time for it to return. And when the time for it to return, when that time comes, we are praying and decreeing and declaring that it comes back safely and its purpose was accomplished. So your purpose is not fully accomplished until the time and the season of that which you needed to fulfill is accomplished and manifested. I hope your guys are getting me. I'm going really, 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 really deep into times and seasons, and there's only so much I can share. The Kyle students get the deeper understanding because I only have a certain time on here. And if you're not constantly hearing this and you're not constantly in school with us and getting these revelation, it's really difficult to just understand it from a level of depth. But if you stay connected at least the first Wednesday of every month, day 4, I always come on here, depending on the time zone. I'm in Eastern time zone now, so this is why I'm coming on at this particular time. And so when you understand your position and you understand your purpose and you're walking in time and seasons, that is when you are in true alignment. And so earth needed to cleanse, it needed to get a detox, it had to be spewing things up and pushing things up. And so right now it's going through that rebalancing phase and going through all that. And so when Esther used her strategy, she used her purpose, because her uncle Mordecai said, "You have been positioned for such a time as this." And don't get it twisted, Esther. If not you, first of all, God would use somebody else. They banished one queen, so they can banish you too. So don't get it twisted. And he questioned her. He said, "Is it possible that you've come to the palace for such a time as this?" And sure enough, long story short, the entire situation was turned around because she stepped into purpose. Her purpose was to be a deliverer for her people. Her purpose was to let her people know, don't be weak, fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back. And when you read the entire Torah, like our Kyle students and our Kyleers, we've just gone through that right now. They're just waiting for the test. Yeah, there comes the test. When you go through the Torah, you notice that it's mostly a lot of fighting for position, a lot of fighting for land, a lot of fight back. And so there is a different weapon and a different fighting that those whom are called and chosen of God right now, there is a way to fight back. It's not always flesh and blood, guns and knives and all that. You can fight and win a war simply by strategy, simply by your voice, simply by your mind, and simply by collaborating with like-minded visionaries. And so I propose to you today, and I share with you, thank you, husband, for those awesome comments and things that you were saying. Natasha, thanks for joining. Oh, Lady Kathy's up in the house. Tony, all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. Shantina, thank you so much for joining me. What you say? Queen Rachel is up in his house. From all the way from the beaches of Santa Rosa by way of the island of Trinidad. Welcome, and thanks for joining me. For those of you others who are with Kyleers, and the pageant and the royalties, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me. You guys are my biggest supporters. Thank you so much, Church in You, those that are part of the Mega Life experience and the Mega Life Club and the Mega Life movement, and you're doing the mega, you're making every day good again. And so we are in a restart, a recalibration as I come to a close. And so, God, you can never recalibrate anything. Here's what happens in my closing. This iPhone that I have, that I love so much, it was having a problem. And it kept, my emails was just messed up. And guess what I had to do? You know what I had to do? I had to it down, shut it down completely, and it had to restart itself. I had to reset it. I had the option of resetting to original intent, which is factory settings, which means that all the little nuances and functionalities that I have done, I would have to reset them in order to, I would not have those. I would have to redo those. Or I could just restart the phone, and see if my functionalities and things would come back. Now, both of them require a shutdown. Guess what? When I shut the phone down, I'm sitting there looking at the dark screen. It's doing its purpose. It's going through its things and all the things that Apple created for what the iPhone does when you're restarting or resetting. It's doing all that. There is absolutely nothing I can do to make the process speed up. You can't speed up your process. Absolutely nothing. If you don't hear anything I say tonight, if nothing connects to you, if you speed up your process, you are only destroying yourself. I have to sit there like a patient little Mary and her lamb, and I have to wait until it comes back on to see it did the soft reset, because there's a soft reset which is resetting, kind of cleaning up some things, shoving some things out that I haven't used, removing some apps that are old. And but it comes back to the sense of where I can use it. My text button is right there, my this button is that, my that button, to determine, did that soft reset make it work? Sometimes I have literally had to back it up in the cloud and do a hard reset, which is erase all the content and data that I have added since I bought the phone, and do what's called a factory reset, where all that comes on my phone is like 5 little apps, which is the apps that Apple give you on the phone. Then I have to go into the cloud, pick out all my little things that I want, and download them back. And most of the times, that's what work. So there is, in life, you will experience a soft reset, but sometimes you have to do a whole hard reset, because you have to go back to original intent, because some of the people, which are the apps, some of the systems, some of the stinking thinking, yeah, I said it, some of the ways, some of the mindset was so set and so stuck on old process and system that even when you do the soft reset, it does not work because you're still having excess baggage. So right now, Earth is going through a hard reset. And so things are going back to, or I should say, not back to, things are now being repositioned by God to how He originally wanted it to be. You see where this is going, Cavell? Genesis, Rachel, you see where this is going? This is hot off the press. Revelation from heaven, hot off the press. It's so crisp, it burns me. Ow! This is a hot off the press. I should throw a shoe at me, but don't hit me. We have a thing where we throw stuff. I mean, just Joshua, if you are on here watching me, Monica, y'all should be throwing stuff at me right now. Just don't break your TV. Sometimes you just got, that's right, Lady G, Lady Genesis, gotta get rid of that old stuff. You cannot speed up your process. I can't tell you how many times, Genesis, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, good Lord, does it take this long? And I'm sitting there. Hold on, my Bluetooth on the right side just died. This is another thing I don't like about this Bluetooth. Pick me up now. Pick me up. I don't hear nothing. Can you hear me still, Kevin? Okay, all right. This one died, and that's what I'm using because it works better with this system, but it's all good. I think you guys can hear me, right? Yeah, I can hear me. Your system is too loud. I'm hearing myself. All right, got me. Okay, sounds good. So, Kyelers, you know where I'm going with this. I have been talking about original intent. I've been sharing about it, and so you know where I'm going. So, when I don't know what's happening in the background of either resets, whether it's the soft reset or the hard reset, I don't know what's going on. The hard reset actually takes longer for the system to boot back up. Recently, my computer died. I never let my laptop get to the point where it just died. It would not come on. We switch plugs, we change plugs, it wouldn't come on, just a dark screen. And there was nothing I can do to get it to work until I gave it enough time to get power, to get so much juice and power that it just came back on. So, right now, one of the things that we cannot do and we don't know is some of the things that are happening in the background, some of the things where you can't see it with your physical eyes. You just have to be patient, stand your ground, be steadfast and unmovable, stay the course, be on the right flight plan, know the journey you are going. Be connected with the right breathing person. They share the same breathing air as you do. The quality is great. Be in the same ear zone with others, that your signal and your tuning is to the 8.18 megahertz. You got to be on that megahertz so that you can be a part of the covenant. Make sure the voice has the same sound, that we are saying one thing. You may be a tenor or alto, one may be a soprano, but the song and our voice putting together forms a beautiful melody. And so we don't know, we can't push anything. We cannot push the process. We can't. I've been through many processes. I'm probably going through one right now. Lord knows he ain't dropped CIU on me. And I have to stay the course, because at the end of the process comes prosperity and propelling. I have never seen God bring you through a process and it doesn't bring you to a higher place. And the only way you go back through the process is simply because it was maybe a soft reset. You push it too fast. You wanted to go too fast. You were ahead of God. Sometimes it was a soft reset, and the apps and the programs still did not work. And so my mail was still being hung up. So I literally had to delete the mail app. And I have about 18 email addresses. And so I had to do a hardcore shutdown back to original factory settings, add back some of my apps. You know what I found in that process? Some of the apps that I had that was taking up space, I didn't need them. I haven't used them. So some of the things that you have in your life, you don't need them. You haven't used them. They're just sitting there. They're just creating chaos. And so I speak to earth today. I speak as a voice to the nations around the world today. My sound that I am releasing on earth is that we have come to such a time as this, where if you are walking in line and right beside the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, if you are one of God's ambassadors, if He is using you to be an ambassador, which is a representation of Him, you must look, taste, smell, feel, and walk in that divine presence. And everything around you must represent the light that He's using you as a reflection to shine upon earth. Everything around you must be in alignment with the right people for the right time for such a time as this. And so when God is doing the shaking, when you are getting put back to original intent, you can only imagine, you can only sit and wait and stay the course, do what you are supposed to do until that system just reboots and that original intent get all the right apps, all the right systems in your life, all the right businesses in your life, all the right education in your life, all the right knowledge in your life, all the right placement in your life, all the right crowning in your life, all the right coronation in your life, all the right kayil in your life, all the right things, the right apps for the right purpose, for the right reason, so that it's not just sitting there, occupy space and living in your brain rent free. Do not allow things, people, and systems to live in your brain rent free, not paying a thing, not paying a dime. Do not allow it. Evict it, eject it, remove it, restart, take the hard reset that is coming, because this is what it is. And so earth is shaking. It's shaking. It's mourning. It's grounding, and it's going through its process, and it's rigorous, and it's chopping, and it's cutting, and it's doing all that. And you're feeling the pains, and it's sharp, but it's just a process. It's like it's just a test. Because when you stand like I am standing, when you can still put a smile on your face, when you can go through the conflicts and come through, have the conversations and walk in awesome peace, when you can have an understanding, when you can sow in the famine, because the only thing you can do is reap in the famine, when God has blessed you with enough finances to be able to still take care of your livelihood, to finance your purpose, because for Kailers, that's what it is. God is financing their new purpose because they are being positioned for purpose, which will bring prosperity. So I say to you in my closing, I could throw a shoe to my own self. I'm gonna go back and listen to at least this end part of this recording because I said some fresh rhema straight from heaven. This is a present day Esther presentation because we have been positioned for such a time like this. In our royal state had been refined, and we're going through this year. We are going through this year together because it's ground zero. Oh, 57, 8, 0, 20, 2, 0. So like 20 and 2, 0. We are in a double zero. And so it's a hard and some soft reset at the same time. Some of the soft resets will help you to realize that you got to do a hard reset, and then you just are able to pick your app. So right now you are able to pick your app, pick your app, pick your app, pick your app. And this is what we're going through. And so the enemy is very familiar with this because he has been in heaven with the Lord. He just tried to rose above God, so he was cast out because he's the evil one. So he is using all his little reset, little bootleg reboots. That's what they are, his little bootleg ones. And it's taking on the appearance because if you look with your natural eye, it will look like it is. But when you see with your mind, which is your vision, when you understand that you've come to the time in your life for such a time like this, then you will walk in divine prosperity. I don't care how much money you have, you will walk in divine prosperity. If God has to drop manna from heaven to feed you, he gonna feed you. You shall not be broke, you shall not starve, and you shall not be without. I speak that into your life, and if you believe it, you say, I receive it, because I'm speaking now from a prophetic mantle. All right? So I'm closing for real. This has been profound. Y'all like my blonde? What is this? Gold? It's gold? It's gold. Tan. I'm tanned down here. I drove, but I didn't drive. Well, I drove a little, a couple hours. Uh, It was more than an hour, Kevel. He said I drove an hour or the 24. So I tanned driving down here. Like I got a tan, I got darker. Praise the Lord for the tan. So my kids say I got what the whites are trying to tan like. So I got that tan color. I said, well, praise the Lord. So if you have received that which I have said, the only way to make it take root is you have to receive it, give me a confirmation, share some things with me. Solidify this thing. All right. Kimberly Rome. All right. Thanks for joining me. Kevin, I saw you. That's a really good one. The iPhone thing, the hard, because you have a hard reset and you have a soft reset. Now, let me tell you this in closing. Oh, thank you, Tracy. I look beautiful. Thank you, Genesis. Yeah, she said they like my style. So when you go to the Apple store, which is one of my favorite stores to go to, I like going to the Apple store. If I want to go there for a purpose, I don't go there to shop because I think I have everything I need. Apple, earbuds, iPhone, Mac, I got everything. So I want to go there for a purpose. I even got their mouse and the keyboard. I'm just kind of, because it works. That's why I get it. It works. It doesn't break down like some other systems. So we ain't gonna go there tonight. So when I go there, and I said, I want to do a hard reset because I can do it myself at home too. I'm very familiar with the process. They was like, are you sure? Let me tell you something. The hard reset, 3 times you got to put in your password, because the hard reset is saying, do you understand what's about to happen? Everything since you've had this phone that you have added that was not factory made, meaning every additional app, every, other apps, everything that was not the little 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the little 9 apps that comes with it. That means my Word, my PDF filler, my Cash app, every single thing that I've had that did not come on this thing, it wants me to know, are you sure? Because guess what's going to happen? It's going back to original. So For those of you who've experienced the soft reset, we're in a hard reset now, and it's because God wants to set our time and He is changing our mindset. So we are have in a collision of set. And do you know within the word set, and this is where I close, is the word EST, which means established. So the set is being established, and you are being established. Set also, minus one of the T, is the word test. And so you are in kind of a test as you are being established, as your mind is being resetted. You understand that? So, that was a lot. I deposited, Lord, I did you honor, and I spoke that which you said. I have more, but I feel the shift. Like a lot of this has to go to the Kylers, because they're positioned for a different purpose. And so for what this intention is, which is the purpose of tonight, is to share word of the Lord for the month of June, um, and to get you recharged and refueled, to know that what is happening right now in and around the world, the key is to find what is your position, what is your disposition, what is your purpose. You don't have to go with the noise and the chaos. What is it that you are supposed to do? Is that to march? Is that to not march? Is that to call a friend? Is that to build a business? Is that to build a brand? Position yourself in CIU. What is it in this time? Or is it just for you to just be whatever, just continue to just be alive? No, no, just not having to choose intentionally. And that may be you. There are some, many are called, only a few are chosen. And so we're amongst the chosen group. And when you're amongst the chosen group, the pressure it's a little intensified on our end. And you just have to know, what is your purpose? Because we are in a time and in a season of a hard reset. And those don't come lightly. And it causes things to go back to original intent, God's original way. And it also will cause you to have to now pick that which you need, pick the necessities, pick the right school, pick the right leader, pick the right person, pick all those things. That's what you're having to do now, to bring them back, to make that your life, in the representation of the phone, work effectively. There are sometimes I have never brought back every single app that I have. In fact, I need to do just a delete of some things myself right now. Not that I have an issue with space, because I buy like terabytes from Apple, but it's just to be able to amen. Come on, Genesis. You took the word right out of my mouth. I was literally going to say that. This is when I was coming to a close. What is your purpose to get in for the ark? What is your purpose? What is, because you were building and we're building. And so we are Noah's generation, Noah's family. What is your purpose? While everybody's in the noise and chaos, and some are laughing, some are doing this and some of that, you got to know your purpose. You got to know your purpose. One brick at a time, one piece of wood at a time, one nailing at a time. Amen. Because when that flood comes, and it comes, it's no stopping it. So when that reset takes place, the hard one, and it comes back to the way God wanted to shake and put some position and put some places and things, ain't nothing can stop it. Not a single thing. And Noah was in that ark an entire year after the flood before he was able to come out. And you know who opened it? God opened the door so he can come out. Noah tested through the window. And this is where the enemy can't touch you, is through that window. So it's the God himself that will open up the portal to say it is time. And when you come out, there's going to be some cleaning up, because there was dead bodies, dead carcasses, there was all kind of dead stuff around him, because everybody had died. It was just him and his family. So it's going to be some cleanup. So stay the course, do the process. You can't speed it up. You can't rush it. Get my times and seasons book. It will be in about 20 minutes. You can pre-order Understanding Times and Seasons. This is a powerful one. 5780 2020, the year of pay and the year of establishment. You will be able to pre-order that at ciuniversity.org or ciuglobal.com or megalife.life. So go to CIU though. That's where it's going to be. It is powerful. My husband right here, he can tell you. Come and say hi to the people, baby. It is powerful. He see me go through it. I'm just driving, trying to vacation, and God was like, the book. And I'm like, man, Lord. So it's powerful. The cover is what you can see here on my screen. If you can see it in the upper right hand corner, that's the cover. It talks about the 10 spheres of life and influence. I gave you an awakening strategy, how once you go through this hard thing and are going through, how do you awaken yourself now to this new life? You got to snap in. Can't be dead. You got to awaken. I gave an awakening strategy. I have 80 decrees and declaration that you can speak. All you got to do is read them out of your mouths that can shift your world, change your dimension, put you into a disposition of a positioning. It can do all that. So you can pre-order your copy. It's $20.20 and $5.30 for shipping. So you can get it priority mail. So that's what, $25.80? I don't know, something like that. $25 for all that I put into it. I should be charging $200. And I know some people would buy it for that, but it's just 2020. It's $20.20. And so just give me a moment, designers getting everything up, but it will be at ciuglobal.org tonight. And it's pre-order only because Amazon is not really shipping out a lot of books. That books is not a priority right now. And so we're getting a small supply in. Our Kyle students are first priority, so they will get theirs first for those who pre-ordered, and then to the world. So love you. I love you. So say hi, just come on in.
All right, let me sneak in here and say hello.
You can come right here.
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Just saying hello to everyone for joining tonight and hearing the word of the Lord from our wonderful, amazing woman, Dr. Carolyn, as she shared so many profound principles,
Right.
as well as revelations into what is happening right now. And I'm so excited that you had been a part of this and continue to be a part of it as we close the night out. So God is doing something amazing, and I believe the analogy that was used tonight is so fitting and is so timely for what is happening right now. Because how many of us have devices where the apps? Let me tell you
Right.
something about those apps on your phone. Some of them are running in the background even when you're not actively using them.
So 1 second, can you guys hear him? Because I did my thing for my ears, and so can you guys hear Cavell? Someone just let me know if you can hear him. That will be clearly.
Give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up. Give me a heart or something. Just let us know you can hear us, because I'm using my Bluetooth for this system, and it's very possible you can't hear him. So let me know if you guys are hearing him. So okay, so they said yes.
Okay, cool.
All right, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Yeah, so what I was saying is, sometimes those applications that are running in the background without your knowledge are draining.
Oh, no. Okay, go ahead.
And at other times they may be using your location. So what is this? What are we saying here is that, in this reset that is happening in the earth, you've got to offload those things that are draining you, that doesn't contribute to your purpose or for the purpose that God has placed you in this earth for such a time as this.
So
just like Esther.
Yeah. All right, just close it because there's no sound.
Okay.
I have to go back to my ear things.
All right, so close it up.
Yeah. So just say what you want to say.
So
wait, I gotta put these in first. Just a moment.
So have an amazing night. This was great. Revelation were just out of this world, and rightly so. And I look forward to checking out the replay. And, sometimes it's in the replay that we pick up some of the things that we miss in the excitement of listening. So
right.
Amazing night, amazing revelations, and I'm soaking it up, and also will share it with others. Yeah, so they too can be blessed.
Awesome. So I'll just repeat what you said. So he was saying that go through the reset, go through the process, because sometimes your buttons can be draining. Sometimes your apps can be draining the battery. Amen. Yeah. So that's what he was bringing it all home for that which we've shared tonight. So you got to offload some things, right? So, all right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. We're so excited. This is a new system, a new page. I literally created this page in like 5 minutes before I joined. So thanks for those of you who are jumping on to the watch party. Thanks for those of the students, Kailers, our MMBA pageant royalties, those who are connected to the Mega Life, those who are just my friends on my Facebook profile, those who are probably your friends on Facebook profile. Thank you so much for your comments and for your things that you have said. I'm going to go back through and just kind of get some of these things, because a lot of times when I actually share, I'm speaking from, current revelation. And so I speak from current revelation. So sometimes I don't know what the Lord is going to deposit. And that's the beauty of going live, and the beauty of this authenticity is that when you, and this is another prime example as we close, when you are positioned to be his voice, when you are a representation of God, he can literally use you right now, because he needed to share what he wanted to share.
Absolutely.
But I had to be available, and I had to be consistent. I don't miss a Wednesday night, and I take the sacred time very seriously. And so the first Wednesday, my family knows, everybody knows, my husband get me in position. He fixed the light. Thank you so much. So that I can, there's no disturbance. We make sure Wi-Fi is good. The kids get off the 5G or the 3G or whatever G we got, so that all the power comes here. Because you have to be in position for him to download, for the message to be directed to you. And so I was just an available vessel that understands God timing and season. And he knows that it's, he has something he needs to share. And so this was, Jenny to say, I almost threw my shoe at you, Doc. Oh, you got oh my God. So yes, and thank you so much, Kevin, for all your amazing support. This month also on megalife.life on the 19th and the 20th of June, my husband is hosting his first Man's Up Mega Summit. And so information about that will be on megalife.life. And that is one of his first that you will be hosting, and it's going to be amazing. I don't care how many men will be on there and joining him. So if you know a male in your life, let them know that a powerful man is coming that will be speaking about fatherlessness, that be talking about manhood and how men, it's time to man up and rise up to the level of excellence that God has commissioned you to be, and to walk in that leadership role, to be that king, to rise like that roaring lion. And this is the time that he is using that and the men to do that. And I'm excited for you, honey. We're going to be here to support you. Kyle got you.
Absolutely.
We're staying with you. We're here to help you out and to see you prosper. All right. So love you guys. Have a good night. Talk to you soon. I can't get your comment off, Genesis, but it's all good. It's a good one too. And so we love you guys so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on week after week and day after day. You are just simply amazing. God is so good. And thanks for joining me night after night, week after week. And like I said, I haven't been on live for the last week because I was signaling my ears to the tune of God. Sometimes he changes the megahertz and sometimes he changes it. And so you have to shift the tune and get into his frequency. So that's another thing. You got to be on God's frequency to hear his message. So I'm on a direct download frequency. Sometimes God will say, go to this frequency, go to this. And sometimes that means going to a different place. So because I am in Orlando, because I am in a different place in space right now, the frequency of which I get is completely different than if I was in the Midwest. So I love you again so much. Thank you, beautiful Rachel, for joining us tonight in Genesis, and thank you for all those who've been sharing and speaking and talking and all that kind of cool stuff. We love you guys so much, and thank you so much again, and have a good night. Be on the frequency, stay the course. All right, you are positioned for prosperity. Know the difference between positioning for prosperity, positioning in the process, and positioning for a disposition. It's 3 different places to be, and CIU will be talking about that soon. All right. Mwah. Love you all. Nancy, I'm looking for your application. Love you guys. Bye-bye.